Yo, what up, guys? That solution here from my time check. It's 6:24. That's 6 minutes to 6:30 a.m. Sunday morning here, right? So I want us to collectively look at BTC to know what it holds in stock for us and what is actually coming. Before you, this is BTC chart, and then I'm using FTS exchange, and then I'm doing this analysis on BTC prep. That's BTC perpetuals. And please know that what I'm doing here is not intended to serve as any form of financial advice, right? So please take whatever it is you'll be learning from this channel, particularly from this video, with a pinch of salt, right? It could go well, it may not go well. Just know that this is not in any way suggesting a form of financial advice. All right, so before, say there is BTC charts, right? So I'm using 1 hour time frame. Okay, before the 1 hour time frame, let's go to other higher time frames. Let's go to 4 hours to see how the chart is performing, to see what the chart looks like. Okay, this is 4 hours, right? This is 4 hours. That's the bigger picture of what the market is showing us. So a quick analysis here. A quick analysis. I'll just draw support and resistance to understand what is playing out here. The grand scheme of things, this is the bigger support, bigger resistance, please, and then here we have a bigger support, right? So moving from here to the lower time frame, the lower time frame here should be 1 hour, because we're using 4 hours as our higher time frame. So lower time frame here should be 1 hour. Okay, looking at the 1 hour, we can see something. We can see that this market has actually been ranging. Market has been ranging since it fell from this high, since it's dropped from the high of 51,700, right? So market has actually been ranging from the point it fell from here, right? It crashed from this 50k plus till it actually descended to a low of 36,182, and then since then market has, all right, no, it decided to a low of, let me get this clearer. The lowest it went towards, okay, 31,234,000, right? So that's the lowest it's gone so far after the fall from 50k plus, right? So then market has been ranging, and then looking at the 1 hour time frame, just as I described, we discover something here, that after it dropped to this very low, market actually went up, right? Came down to this very place. This was serving as a form of resistance, and then at a this was serving as a form of support. Then at a point, let me zoom it for clearer view. Then at a point, right, this kept on serving as a form of support for it, right? Then it went up again, came down. Then at this very point now, this support was actually defeated, and then the support became a resistance. Then it actually went above it. Okay, that's what it's been doing, and then from this point to this point, we actually see a little range. But then I want us to discover that between here and here, something has actually happened. And what's that? We can see that a new support and a resistance has actually been created. So noting that, we can just decide to, okay, get it from this point. Okay, we see this here. Okay, we see a new, let me change this color for clarity. That's, let me change it to yellow. Okay, so what it means is that this 34,000 now is actually what, a very strong support right now. It's been serving as a support, but then market has been doing something from here. It's ranged, so we need to note this range zone. We need to note this zone here. We need to note this zone here. Okay, we need to note that zone. So this from here to here is a different zone. In the grand scheme of things, we have the bigger zone here. That's the one we got in our 4 hours. Okay, then again, we now have another zone inside the zone, and that's the zone between, let me change this color, okay, between 36,000 to 34,000. This is currently serving as a zone. And then if you zoom the chart very well, you discover what has been happening. You discover that BTC, what it does is that it comes down, tests the support, goes over to the resistance, then fails to defeat it, then comes down again, tests the support. This is actually what has been happening here. The same thing that played out here is actually playing out here. But I want us to backdate this chart and also see something else. Okay, I want us to backdate this chart and see something else. Let's start from here. What happened here? What happened at this very point now? We see that when the price came down to this support, it went up again to the resistance, actually went above it but couldn't hold, came down again, broke through the support, came again, touched resistance. Now it's actually been ranging up onto this I want us to be noting this, just what happens in this zone. That's just what I want us to be seeing. Let me okay, I think this should be better now. Okay, so I want us to be noting what happens in between this very zone now, right? So at this point, market actually kept on ranging. Market kept on ranging, then broke through, went down, came up again, ranged a little, went up, couldn't hold it, right? Couldn't hold it, came down again, stayed in that range, broke through again, right? Went up to as high as 42k, then came down again, still in that range. Now something is really happening, and what is happening, what we can see from this chart right now is that if that this place, that this current range of this market is actually the deciding factor. If this support of 35k, right, this is actually let me roughly, this 35k, yeah, this 35k, that's 34,952. Let's just roughly make it 35k. So what it means is that if this very zone now doesn't hold, market is actually crashing. And if market should drop, if market should fall out of this very place, there is really nothing. Look at it from here now, is actually totally free. This is actually a very free zone for you. So what it means is that there is little to no force that will stop it from going down to the low of maybe from 32k to 31k. That's the chances of testing this very price again is actually high. But then on the flip side, if this support holds very well and then we crush through this resistance, then we should likely, there's a possibility of getting to 38k. For after 38k we could get to 39k, which could, if we still keep on pushing, we could actually hit another high of maybe 40k or thereabout. But I just want you to understand that you don't need to, build castles in thin air. At this point in time, you need to focus on what the chart is showing you. You need to focus your attention on what you are seeing. Then there is this strategy I normally use whenever I find myself in this kind of zone, or in this kind of range, so to say. Maybe I'm trying to know where the market will tilt to. There is a strategy that has helped me. All right, I learned it from one of the greatest traders I listened to. That's Alexander Elder. Right, so he was talking about how to trade this type of candle whenever you find yourself in a range and then you don't know where the market is actually gonna tilt to. There is a simple strategy to knowing, or maybe not totally knowing, but you have a likely idea, right? So you could know where you tilt your bias to. Right, so look at it. First of all, count the number of green candles. Check the number of green candles we have here, right? Check the number of green candles we have here, then use it to compare with the number of red candles we have here. Okay, then after that, also check the magnitude, or rather the size of the green candle and also the size of the red candle. Which ones are bigger? For instance, at this point we can see that from here to here we can see that we have higher green candles than we have red. So we just have, like, after this drop, I'm talking of after this drop, we see these green candles, right? About 2, 3, 4, 5 of it. Then we have those 2 reds. Then after that, we saw this crash that came down, like these 2 red candlesticks that just came to the support, then went up again. So just compare the number of green. So if I can just postulate from what I'm seeing here, I can see that it's obvious we have like more red candles than we have green. Let's just do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 greens. Then how many reds? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Is as if there is equality, right? It's as if everything is balanced. We just have one more red than we have one more green than we have red. Like, what it means is that we have one red, like green is bigger. The number of green candles we have here is bigger than the red by just one single candlestick. Okay, so what it means is that the number is actually they're proportional, right? They are equal. So what it means is that this is actually a very indecisive moment. All right, so we can't really say that this is what is happening here, but like I said, I always tell people that you don't need to build castles in thin air. You don't need to hope. don't bank on hope. And remember that trading is nothing but a game of probabilities. It could work where it couldn't it may work where it may not work where, right? It could go to your favor, it may not go in your favor. So that being the case, you need to focus your attention on what the chart is telling you. Don't bank on hopes that it is going to maybe 38k or that is crashing to 31k. You need to focus your attention on what the chart is saying. And what is the chart is saying? We can see what the chart is saying at this very zone now. So all your attention, all your energy should be focused on the range between 36k and 34k. That is the only place you need to focus on. Don't try to, maybe you want to overshoot everything and start looking up at this point, or maybe you want to move down and start looking. No, you don't need to concern yourself with all those. Just focus on this very zone. This zone is all that matters, right? And then, yeah, even though it's very risky, so to say, trading this very zone is very risky, but myself, I'm a conservative trader. Conservative in the sense that I always prioritize protection of capital over profit. My capital, protection of my capital is more important to me than the profit I'm making. So with that being the case, I could just decide to be, maybe from the time we came to this very crash, the only thing I did was just to reduce my position. I'm actually I've really reduced my position drastically. So the capital I'm putting in this trade is really nothing much, and that being the case, I'm not really looking at making huge profits, so to say. All right, so it could be $100, $200, $150 or less in a day. I'm okay, right? Because market is actually indecisive. Market is actually precarious at this point in time. So how do you now trade this range? It's very simple. You could decide to wait for market probably to get to this resistance. Watch it, see what happens there. If you see that the momentum needed to push it up is not forthcoming, just put a short take a short entry. Go just short it. And what the greedy people will do is that they would want to come and take their profits here. No, I don't do that. I don't short at this point with the intention of taking profit here. No, rather what I do is that I short at this point, then plan to take my profit at the middle zone. That's the kind of conservative trader I am. Like I said, I prioritize protection of capital over profit maximization, right? So I could just, if I decide to short here, I could decide to take my profit maybe at the middle zone, or maybe a little bit lower, right? So I just ask myself, where is the next support again? If this is resistance, where is the next support? So my chart will tell me, or my lines will tell me that probably something around there, that 35k is actually $35,500 is actually another support for me. So I could decide to take profit at this point, at this particular price. That doesn't mean that price may not really likely crush down and still go to this place, but no, I am more interested in conserving my capital. Then the next thing, I could maybe wait for this price to maybe come down to this very zone, now to this 35k zone, and then watch what happens. Is there any chance of maybe the volume coming in? Do we have more bearish volume than bullish volume? If I discover that we have more bearish volume, there's no need putting a buy. I could just wait for it, see how it reacts at this very point. Then once there is a breakdown, maybe I see a breakdown, I could decide to put a short entry, right? I could just take a short position, maybe something around 34k, and then if I see that this price has actually gone to this very low, and I decide to take a short position at this 34.5 or thereabout, yeah, so where should I be targeting? Probably something around this maybe 32k or thereabouts. All right, so I hope this has been insightful enough just to guide us on what to expect from BTC at any point in time. That this zone now is a very precarious zone, but then they said success leaves clues, so you have to go back to what happened before and then judge from what the data you get from there, that at one point in time, when we got this kind of range, what happened next was that this price actually broke down, and then we got this kind of range again. What happened next was that the market actually went up, and then we are actually in that range again. So two things are involved: either the market goes up or the market comes down. But till then, face the chart and trade what the chart is telling you. I hope this has been insightful enough. If you find my content encouraging, if you find it educative, kindly hit the subscribe button, like the video, share it so that other persons can benefit from it. So till I come your way again, I remain your man, Mr. Solution. Hands ahead, salute.